there will be somebody who will help you out.
Delhi area, it is a very dense populated area.
Some countries are developed and some countries are developing.
Okay.
A
If we are not if we are dependent to others, like we are thinking like.
If you talk about the practical knowledge,
Yes.
there are signs. It's
Like
like we are taught
You are
to
talking
live
about
in
it is a human nature, but in
we
the
are-
term of the India, it is a human nature. But
She remove foreigners from India and protect India. Why?
to live in the Assam. Okay, so what happened? People killed the Assam, the Bangladeshis. Uh,
So good morning everyone, my name is Nani and we are here to do some debate, a special activity. So she will introduce her
My name is Reet Singh.
and she is in the favor of Indian culture. Now he is introduced.
So good morning, myself Varun Dixit. I am in the favor of the foreign culture.
Okay, let's start the debate.
Yes.
Okay. So according to me, as my prefer to everyone, like as I always say that the ladies first. So start for ladies by.
Thank you for this opportunity. Okay, so as we know, in India is a very diverse culture. It's full of different religions, different festivals, different people, and their different notions. Okay, so if I talk about the Indian people, they are very centralized around the community part. They see everything as collective. So if one person has to think about the society and the family over the personal desires. Okay, so if I talk about if I travel in a bus, so there will be somebody who will help you out with the directions. But if you go in the metro, who is very the people there are very influenced by the modern culture. They are not respecting you enough that they will help you out with the directions very easily. That's a very personal experience of mine.
Okay. So I am partially agree with you, but I am not totally agree with you. You are saying about the foreign buses, like buses, but instead of like doing that too much carbon emission, which cause the very pollution in our air also, especially in the Delhi area. It is a very dense populated area. So instead of doing the fossil fuels, we have to shift to the electric or any other resources. For that, foreign culture is also having a that too much type of the capacity. They are providing the like separate rails, again, everything in their own culture. So what do you prefer to be as, like everyone like to be a healthy person in our society? So do you like to be a healthy or a bus traveling passenger? Like there is also many cases in the bus, like there is a snatchers in a bus, the thieves in a bus, but in a metro there is no chance to steal anything, because where you can go out of the metro station, metro.
Okay, so if I talk about the buses and the carbon emission, the difference between different countries is some countries are developed and some countries are developing.
Okay.
Our country is developing.
Okay,
So-
our country is developing, but like if we are talking about the foreign countries or any other countries around us, China got independent after us. Instead of that, he is developed, like it is developed country.
Yes.
So why we are lacking in that? Like all foreigners are especially developed country. According to the world report and like world news report, the best city in the world, the best country in the world is Switzerland. Why we are not in that list?
Okay, so if I talk about development, China, it's about what are the preferences before making our country developed.
Okay.
So-
So what's your preference to be a developed country?
What's the preferences?
Yes.
The Indian education was centralized around the scientific temperament.
Okay, you are
And
talking about
languages?
the education system.
Yes.
But there in a foreign education system, people are more practical than theoretical. Like instead of like giving support to him, like making admiring to the children of the ourselves, they provide them the real opportunity to be a very developed people. they said to him to left their home in the age of 18.
And-
They make them self-dependent instead of dependent to other.
but there are so many consequences as well. If you talk about an 18-year-old to come out of the house and live a life, so there are problems that they have to. Sometimes they are unable to pay their fees.
Okay. Have you ever read the Constitution of India?
Complete his point.
I understand what he want to say. What she want to say.
Okay, so they are unable to live the life. So
Okay.
they are unable to pay the rent. Okay, it start from the self that you have to learn properly, and then you have to start a life. But sometimes some students are unable to do that. So what about their life?
Okay, you are talking about like they are not able to pay their rents,
Yes, sir,
educational fees as well. So you are talking about I am talking about the age 18. In the age of 18, girls are that too much mature that instead of the 25 of a man. So if there is a man or a girl of 18 years old, so girls is much mature than the boy. So she or he or like even he can also like men also can be able to earn the money, because in our constitution is also mentioned the voting age is also 18. So it means the people are good mature that they can even maintain their lifeline.
It's about the skills. Have they developed the skills to earn
So
money?
I am also saying the same thing, because if we left the people, like if we give them the opportunity to do their own work with their own ability, so they will develop their own facility, like their own skills, their own talent to earn money whatever they want. So that is also like if we are not depend on the another one, so we have like a confidence to be earn money to live ourselves. And if we are not like if we are dependent to others, like we are thinking like we are not having too much things, like we are not taking that too much tension, he will or she will pay our money or we can earn the money or anything.
Okay, so the problematic part is from the starting, we live as a family.
Yes.
Okay, we live as somebody who is trying to learn the skills. So it's not possible for everyone to be able to do everything. So it's a learning stage as well. Even right now, the marriage age is 21. Okay, to get married, you have to be 21. So there are reasons that they have set the boundaries there. If unless you are not well prepared, you have to do graduation. To when you pass the 12th class, you are like 17 or 18 years old. You go to the college and you turn like 21 or 20. After that, you are skillful, so that you can have a job and pay for your bills and live a life on your own. So it depends upon the different cultures. It's not just about the education system. Our education system is based on the culture, collectivity, that we should respect elders, we should live with each other. Technology, and the main part is India is developing country. Okay, so in developing country, the education is also developing. It's not totally developed. Systematic part about the education system is there are people out there who are great teachers, but they cannot deliver everything very well. So the students are learning accordingly. So students are the product of what they have been taught. It's education system can be everything to a student, but unless they are not able to learn everything properly, they cannot do it well.
Okay.
Okay,
So
now I want to ask you something that individuality. You say that individuality means people lived 18 years. So individuality is good or bad?
So according to me, like it is depend on the situation of like particular things. Like if mother and father only have a only child and they are too much older, like in a earlier age to be left the country, like left the world, so they need the support to care himself, like care them. But in a foreign culture, they have a good bonding to with each other. That's why they left their child to be like you can do whatever you want. We are happy with
After
one
that,
another.
they facing many problems. What you say?
Yeah, because they face so many problems.
Like there is also a idiom in our in Hindi culture also, like जो भी कोई समस्या आती है वो अपने साथ हल जरूर लाती है. मतलब कि if we are trying to solve the problem, we can't be able to like fetch in them. We can solve that problem.
Yeah, that depends person to person. It's not just.
Yes, I think we are distracting from our point of view.
No, we are not distracting about our point of view. We are just discussing
Like
about.
she is also talking about like, so I would like to continue my debate. Like she is talking about the skills. Like have you ever know about the nuclear weapons? Nuclear weapon.
Nuclear weapons, yeah.
So in the Japan there is 2 nuclear attack in Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yes.
Instead of that, they are very developed country because they teach their student practical knowledge instead of theoretical knowledge. Like in our Indian culture, history like history is the main part. Like history reflects the culture of us to the all the world. So in history also they are talking about the foreign investors, foreign invaders, foreign foreign rulers instead of like discussing about their own rulers. They are also discussing about the East India Company, like Mughal Emperor. They are not talking about the great warrior of the like Rajputana, and then so many other warriors are there in country also.
That's true that they are teaching about the history, but it's not like that. History is not important for us. History teaches us how something was done and how it can be prevented from doing it again.
Like Lena, like if you are talking about like the way of teaching is good, like I am also appreciating that.
Yeah.
But the way the materials which they teach are not good. Like if we are talking about the Mughal emperor, they also like saying the morality of that they are too much warrior, or but they are not talking about their own. Like we have the many of that which defeat them, like Akbar and the other kings are afraid to take a war with them. So what are you talking about that?
So there, in the education system, there were it was assigned that they will be teach maths, science, technology,
In
and
history?
computer. No, not in history.
Okay.
There are the other subjects as well. They have to teach the practical knowledge, but the problem is there is lack of resources.
Like
The
okay.
population
I
is too
think
much.
you have also passed the class 10th in which you have I think math is also in there.
Yeah.
So you also have a knowledge about the trigonometry and other
Yes.
calculus things.
Yes.
So what is the use of that things in our daily life?
Trigonometry is
Yes.
used. Okay, trigonometry. If you talk about the practical knowledge,
Yes.
there are side. It's been so many years that I learned about it. So sorry if I make a mistake. Trigonometry is very useful. If you talk about the depression, I guess it is called
Depression angle and elevation angle.
elevation angle and depression angle. If you have to make a building, you or you have to make a diagonally you have to make something, and you have to think about how much angle it requires. Okay, so it will be
I think it
very
is a part of
useful in the
architecture.
It
But
is a
I
part
think
of architecture.
all of us are not architecture.
Yes, that's true. But there are basic knowledge.
But
that
they are
everybody
only like
needs to
they are only talking about the theoretical knowledge, how to implement the angles, but they are not like doing practical of that, how to make a building, a stable building or any other building. But in our foreign culture, they are also giving the project to everyone of the class 12th that they have to build a bridge over the river, that they can put 1,000 of weights on that. Then how we can manage that? That's why there is many cases in India that the pools, bridges are also collapsing each other.
collapsing. That
Yes.
is a case of corruption actually.
Corruption as well as the lack of technology is also there. Something how
No. There are so many bridges they are built and they are working very fine. But
Okay.
the problematic part is if the material used are not well enough to support the building or the bridge, it's gonna collapse.
But there is corruption in foreigner also. They are too much corruption. Instead of that, they are building that too much things that
They
they can.
think about the personal life as well. That's true.
So why the Indians are not?
Indians are not because of the development part. I agree with you partially, but there are so many factors. It's the population factor is there. Population is too high, lack
Okay.
of resources, lack of budget.
lack of resources. But in India is saying that we have like too much of resources, but we don't have that too much technology
Okay,
that we can restore that.
There are resources. Okay, there are resources, but population is increasing day by day.
Yes.
So the problematic part is,
Okay, you are
even
talking
if-
about like population. Like if there is a too much population, like people are some like out of 100, there is 2 or 3 people that they can be able to like very developed people. So instead of that, we are having like 7 medals only in the Olympic Games. As I also athlete also. That's why I'm saying that this point like we are most dense populated country in the world. Instead of that, we are having 7 medals instead of having
okay,
like thousands
so
of
many
medals.
people, so many people come from the outside and are migrate from other countries to our country.
So you are saying that India is not a place of the Indians; it is a
No,
place
no,
of the
it's not
migrators.
like in scriptures, Hindu scriptures, it
Okay.
is said that Atiti Devo Bhava.
Okay.
Respect the guest.
But have you ever read the Bhagavad Gita? Like if the Athithi becomes the warrior, like your enemy, then don't be that too much.
In India, all the citizens are respected really well.
Okay, I am not saying the respects of that, but I am also saying the situation of the Bangladesh in with respect to India. Like in Bangladesh, people are migrating from Bangladesh to here. So if they left their country, so what the mean of that? Matlab, being a Bangladeshi.
Because there are so many reasons. Okay, they are not getting the resources to live
And you are also
sustain a
saying
life.
that India is also not having that too much resources because it is a developing country.
Because it is developing country. The problematic part is some people think that India is everything. India is welcoming everyone. So if it has a very welcoming nature,
Okay.
it will welcome everyone.
Have you ever
But
read the
there will
history?
be lack of
Like, have you ever read the history? India is always in welcoming country. Instead of that, the foreigner take a bad benefit about that, and they rule over the 200 years of us. Like
Yes.
not instead the English, the Portugali, the Dutch, the Francis, like many of that are coming here to like just invest here. Like invest instead of that, Muhammad Gori invest the India 17 times. And Vasco da Gama, who have came the India first time, he also take a 2 to 3 ships of the gold from here. Like they are come only for the doing business, but when they see that the people are not that too much brotherhood to each other, that they know they wants only their own self. That's why they take the benefit of that.
It's a human nature. It's
Like
we are taught
you are
to
talking
live
about
in
it is a human nature, but in
we
the
are-
term of the India, it is a human nature. But
are-
if we are talking about the foreigners, they are also a human. So
Yeah.
why there is a human nature not exist in the that particular like foreigners?
Okay.
So he is talking about like foreigners came to India and acquired India, like that's so why Indians are not taking actions that she remove foreigners from India and protect India. Why?
Okay, so it is the Indian, I don't know why it is the Indian policy to welcome all the guests and let them live. Even there was Assam Accord, if you know about it.
Yes,
Assam Accord, if you know about it.
1965.
Yeah, that so many people came from the different countries to the Assam.
Not
to
from a
live there.
different country, only from the Bangladesh.
Yeah, Bangladesh to live in the Assam. Okay, so what happened? People killed the Assam, the Bangladeshis. Over 25,000 women and children were killed by using knives so that they cannot use the resources.
So according to you, that India is inviting and kindly helping everyone, foreigners. So it is good or bad?
For me, I just feel that it is good for the people who want to sustain our life, but it is impacting our life because there are already lack of resources. It's a developing
But
country.
I think it's impact our country because they acquire our resources, our environment, or so economy. People are using their resources instead of us resources. So it's impact. I think
People are using us resources instead of their.
resources.
Like it is also impact our economy also, as we are becoming a developed country. So we have to need a lot of resources to be manufacture our industries or our environment to make them clear. Like all of that are need a lot of resources. So if they come to our India, then they use our resources. So what we can do? Like what we will
But
reuse?
they also invest in India. So India is
Like-
also in developing day to day.
Yes, but developing, like instead of being developed in a 10 to 50 years of independence, we are instead developing after the 78th of the Independence Day.
We are still developing. Yeah, I
Like
partially agree with you.
China is also like get the independence after us. Then instead of that, he become a developed country in 50 years of their independence.
But there are lots of countries who is developing after independence.
But
How can you say that the independence India is the only independent developing country after
like,
independence?
have you any example of that? Like, have you ever read about any developing country which are being under developing country, like especially in the foreign?
Like there are country
Like
Africa,
Africa is no,
very under.
they are not like independent country. Like they are the slave country instead of the history. Like from the history time. Look, nowadays they are like becoming itself an independent country. They are not get like.
But Indians were also slaves of English, British people.
China is also become a slave.
There are different situations.
America is
different-
also become the slave.
Yeah,
why
that's
I'm-
true. But you cannot deny the fact that there are different cultures, different people.
That's why I'm supporting the foreign culture.
So you support individuality instead
Yes.
of community.
Yes. Like, have you ever read the list of the global innovative index? India is on the 31st, 31. India is on the 31 out of 50 countries.
50 countries. Yeah. So what's you say that
Instead of like
why-
becoming the first or the second of the world, they are instead like in the 31st.
why India is on 31st?
Like innovation is like
50 countries.
innovation is diminishing in our society.
Innovation is diminishing. Innovation used to diminish in our society because of the education system, but our education system is getting better day by day.
So if you
Because they
are-
are implementing new policies,
Okay.
and at the same point they are implementing ways that teachers can be taught that as well, so that they can apply that to the society, and that will enhance the skills of the students, and they can become the developed country soon. But it's a vision. It's a long vision. It's not a short vision. Some people have the short vision, some people have the long vision. You cannot deny the fact that it's not becoming a developed country. If you want to be, if you really support the culture, you are great at studying. You can apply for the foreign universities, right? There are chances that you might get education there.
Yes.
But
like,
you are choosing the DU over the other other.
no, I am not doing any graduation right now.
Okay.
So that's why I am also saying the same thing about the foreign culture, that they are giving you a golden opportunity, like more opportunity to show your innovation instead of like doing the that too much rude things.
In India, what we understand in the education system, that every children should know things first, and then should be able to decide that what is better for them.
Like
But in
in a foreign culture,
countries, in foreign countries, it is said that if you are good at something in the childhood, you have to become expert at it. Okay,
Yes.
that's very innovative. That's great. But they lack the information about the other world, different worlds as well.
so like every country have their own priority. Like if for the India as well as all the country in the world
Yes.
have the priority itself. Like our country is the first one.
Yes.
Like nationality, the priority is the first.
Yes.
So everyone country have that. Like if they are serving the country, like getting the medal, gold medal every time in the Olympics. So what if they have the what they have to study about that? Like what is the think of the knowledge? Like they have to grab the knowledge first, then they will serve the country.
Like you want to say that if we are good in one thing, then why we need to study all about all things?
All about life. Okay, have you studied NCRTs?
Yes, why not?
if you study the NCRT, I studied for my exam, okay, my teaching exam. So when I studied about it, even I used to believe that foreign culture is best because they get you the chance to learn about single thing. But when I studied the NCRTs, I understood that how much you need to learn about your surroundings as well. It talks about, if do
Like
you know,
I'm not talking about the surrounding. I'm like talking about the theoretical knowledge. Like if the
theoretical,
people
it
is
has a
getting the
theoretical
medal
knowledge.
and serving country proud, make a proud of our country, then why we are sending them
We
to a
have
school?
choice after 10.
That's why I'm also saying the same thing. Like why we have to study first, then like doing the first to 10th class instead of that we can do the training of that particular sports which we have to play to serve our country, to represent
Okay,
our country in
after
the
a
Olympic
certain
level.
point, you are, after a certain point, you, okay, you have passed, you have gotten a medal in any particular sport. But after a certain point at your age, like 40, 45, you won't be able to play the game. You will need a job.
No, like
You will need money.
money, like you are saying that the sport persons are poor, like they are not getting that too much particular jobs. Like if you are talking about in the India, Mohammad Siraj is like Mohammad Siraj, Harmanpreet Singh,
But
many
no,
other of that are DSP of their own like district.
Yeah, they are DSP. But what about the other cricketers in the different fields?
All
Like
cricketer
kabaddi.
have their own like second
if
part.
you not just talk about the cricket, talk about the kabaddi.
Like
kabaddi, kho.
Have you ever
hockey.
like what is the most expensive player of the kabaddi? If you are talking about a kabaddi,
Okay, so tell me.
28 crore rupees, the most
28
expensive
crore. But what about
in
the
a
other?
single match.
Okay,
So,
what
she-
about the
she
other
wants to
matches
say that
and the
if
other sports?
there are 10 peoples and one is the top and they get more money, so what about 9 peoples? What about?
Like
What if
I
they-
think approximately all of the sports persons
Okay.
have their like that too much financial background
No,
that
I don't think
Recently-
so. I'm not agree with your point.
Recently, I read about a cab driver who was driving, and there was an IT employee. He talked to the cab driver, and he got to know that the cab driver was a national champion.
for like in which field?
In which field, I exactly don't remember, but he had a few medals in the national championship. But still, he is driving. There are some people who are working at like running a store or working
That's why
as a laborer.
that's why it's happened in India only. But in a foreign country, I think all the athletes give their like proper facilities after retirement also. That's why I'm saying that the foreign culture are best rather than.
Foreign culture is best because there is there is not so much population there. Don't have to think about a lot of
Like I'm also
resources
saying the same thing. Like if we are most populated, like most populated in a country
Yes.
in the world, so we make our society that type of that if one is becoming successful, then instead of becoming own self successful, he will become the 10 or 20 people's itself to be a successful person
yeah,
with itself.
He can be an inspiration as well.
Not an inspiration, like as a brotherhood to grab their arms and make them first successful, then become after successful. Why we are not thinking about that type of mentality?
I am not getting your point.
Like if in a foreign country, if the people is like doing something special, then he will teach his family as well his friend also, like to make them as full, like if he become the successful person in that field, then he will like make them also a successful person in that field.
Okay, if you're
But in a country in India is also
Yes.
itself, they if the people know the something about itself, then he deny to tell to somebody because he think that it becomes me, it's become myself as a competition to
It-
overcome that.
you know, if you talk about the selflessness, it's not necessary, it's a personal choice. And if I talk about somebody who is getting rich by playing a game, and there are lakhs of people and one come out of that, what about the other lakh of people?
Yeah, if you are like if you
How if they don't get the job, what will happen to their life?
Okay.
It's people are getting less opportunities in this field.
Okay.
Particular field. There are only 8 people in the basketball. But what about the 8 lakh people who are trying to get into the basketball team? They have to get the job as well.
yes, why
They
not?
need
Like
to study.
you like that is the thing of mentality of the Indian. Like they are thinking only about grabbing the job first, then after the skills, like if we are doing the job, the skills will develop itself. If we develop skills since our childhood, then we can able to grab anything any way whenever we want and whatever we want. Like if we, like instead of like we are not getting that, we can also make itself a company, like to train the peoples, as well as like making our clubs.
You can train thousands and lakhs of people, but only 5-7 will be selected. What about the other people?
Like other
I am
people,
talking about them.
other people also make their own branches.
They will make, okay, it will increase day by day, but there are place, if okay, suppose there are only 12 vacancies for this. Okay, only 12 people can play the cricket. Sorry, 11. 11 people can play the cricket. What about the other 11 lakh people? What
Okay,
if-
okay. If you
what-
are like, if you are
the-
totally talking about the cricket, like
Yes.
India have the 6 to 10 team of the India cricket team.
Yes.
Like main team is the other things, but instead of that they have the under 19, under 16, under 14. Out
Okay.
of that they are have the A B C D,
If they
A B
have
C D,
five.
A B C D.
Okay, if they have
I
five.
think they have 25 to 30 teams.
Okay, even if there are 25 to 30 teams, but the aspirations, I read about it in a newspaper a few times, a few months ago. I don't remember the data exactly, but there are lakhs of people who are trying to get into the cricket, and even my cousin wanted to get into the cricket, but because of the competition, he chose to not continue, because he knows that he will not get a job if he doesn't get a place in the cricket team. So
Okay.
there are so many reasons. You have to get the education to get a job as well.
Okay.
If you don't get
But
the
in a foreign
opportunity-
country, they have the multi skills they have. Not only in the sport field, they have the different kind of the abilities as well as, because if we give time to itself, we can able to like get the skills or talent which we have. But instead of that, we are making our child to like foolish things to do. To
Okay.
bag them into like pre classes and other classes.
It's about the passion. It's about the personal passion. Not
Okay,
everybody
you
has
are
that
you are
passion.
also saying the one point about the like policies. India is like giving the policies as well as the innovatives to make our country develop.
Yes.
So if you are talking about like one yojana of the like Pradhan Mantri Jan Man Dhan Yojana, especially for the
Can you
villagers.
describe about it?
Jan Man Dhan Yojana is about like providing a quota or like financial backup to the farmers.
Background people.
Financial backup to the farmers.
Yes, and like semi-urban areas, especially for that. And so, instead of like having a different kind of the innovatives as well as the policies,
Yes.
India instead, like if you read the report of the global innovative, like global hunger index,
Yes.
India is on the 105 out of the 127.
Okay.
Like
So what's your point?
I am saying that instead of like having that too much innovation, like too much policies, India is also not getting that benefits. Like after that, they are only 105 out of 127.
Okay.
Like instead of that, Bangladesh and Pakistan are in the first in that race.
To be honest, I haven't read about it. And if I talk about the development, if they are giving the resources to the farmers, okay, they are not rich, they are poor. It's not just about, it's about building the foundation for their children as well. If you give money to them, they will be able to study well.
Like
They will be
after
able to
the
have
independence
resources.
of the 78, like after like independence, they
Yes.
are just building the like base of that particular thing. In 78 years, they are just building the base.
See, that has something to do with the government as well.
So
I will agree with that, that it has something to do with the government as well. It's not just about a personal thing that you can make somebody just rich in a few minutes and make a GDP like better in just a click. You have to work, you have to make policies around it.
But,
you have to think
like-
about the foundations, it's not just about Indian people, it's about the migrants as well. You have to make the foundations for as well. I taught in a school where Afghani migrants were also studying. Okay, so they are eh, within themselves there is a sense of fear that somebody will harm them. Okay, that's very natural if you shift to another country. If you migrate to another country, that's very natural to have that somebody might hurt you.
Okay.
But if you talk about their foundations, they have to be built. Okay, it's not like that. If you talk about, it's not just about them as well. If you talk about somebody who is living in the slum, who came from the village, they have to work on the foundations as well, because they have lived a life that we cannot even imagine. They have lived a life where they didn't have resources. First,
So
they had to feed
why they didn't get the resources well, as India is like providing many innovation, many policies to our country, like our
that has
people
something
also.
to do with the government.
So you are not going to change the like government itself. You have to change itself
You
first.
are the, India is a democratic country, and as today is a day that
Like in
CM
the world, in the foreign especially, there is many countries which are like democratic country.
yeah,
Instead
democratic
of that,
country
they are
as well.
developed country.
Yeah, but it's not about making policies. It's about implementing them as well. How
Like if you
long
like
can they
like left the history whatever they want. Like if we are talking
Okay.
about the today's scenario,
Okay.
like the first have you like I think everyone knows about the AI.
Yes.
But India is using the basic programming of the AI right now. But instead of that, USA and America are using the like next level of the AI. Like they are like they are also implementing their innovation in the
What-
defense, in the policies, implementing their policies also.
What do you think about the AI? Okay, first just tell me what do you think about it?
Artificial intelligence, especially
Okay, how many ways can you use it?
like especially about like make the people more innovation, more innovative by providing
In what
AI.
way?
Like especially like in the like reducing the main force, like a main force after like AI tools can reduce the main forces,
Main forces means?
like
Human work.
human work.
Okay, if you talk about the human work, in my perspective, if you talk about the AI, artificial intelligence, if you give AI to a student, he will make the essays, he will make different things, so many easier.
That's I am also
That-
saying the same thing.
that
Like
is a
India is
problematic-
just
but
India is
like-
just using the Chat GPT.
But I want to ask you that AI is good for their country and AI is good for our country also.
Like yes, we are. Why not? Like in a human nature, we are also a human. Like we get fatigue if we are like, especially talking about the defense. If we are taking a duty on the fencing, like we can also get fatigue. But AI is
But AI is more dangerous than human.
like if we everything and every subject in our country, in our world have their own pros and like benefits.
Being a teacher, okay, if I talk about the students who are using the AI, it's not just about using the chat GPT. It is impacting their mental health, their reasoning abilities, their problem solving
Like,
abilities.
but I think
If you get answer very quickly, you can't research anything. You do not have information about it.
You will
So
learn about it.
How do you search it? How do you get information?
Like,
if you using AI.
if you are like instead of this like this era, you are thinking about like human resources, like you have to be a human intelligent first, then after you can develop AI. So it is like foolishness, because this country this time is a like modernizing period of that world.
But depending on AI is not good.
I am not saying that depending, I am saying that the uses of AI
You know,
in a proper way.
right now it feels really beautiful, really rainbow to have AI. But if you talk about just somebody from a perspective of a teacher, after 50 years, children will not be able to use their subconscious mind to arrange their timetables, to have the problem solving abilities, to solve the questions, to have perspectives. You know, you have to have the genuine perspectives.
That's why India has that mentality that they are not getting the resources, and they are saying that they have the lack of resources. Why we are lacking in the resources? Because India is most dense populated country. Instead of that, we have to introduce the technology in them to make their way easy.
But there are lots of companies and places where AI is introduced.
AI introduced on a basic level, like they are not know about the AI Gemini, AI model, AI anything. They are just totally know about the AI Chat GPT, anything but that.
Not only ChatGPT, there are many companies is using robots, and there
That's why I'm
Okay,
saying.
there are
But
robots.
why India is not the first to develop the AI? Why they are copying the other foreigner countries?
You know, India, if you talk about the India was India was the third country, I guess, third country to land this device. I don't know what is it called. To land the moon lander on the moon. Chandrayaan.
Chandrayaan 3.
Chandrayaan 3. Okay, it is the third country.
ISRO is also
ISRO is supporting
making
country,
a lot of
but
progress.
why ISRO is not being established before the
but
period?
But
is
the Mangalyaan is the first who land Mars first time, and
Okay.
with the less resources. So
I am also saying the same
Okay,
thing. Like
so
it
I
is
have a
quite good to be
perspective.
a like first one, but in the other field, like in a Chandrayaan, in a solar panel, in the other like NASA is also sending their space to the Europa, the one of the moon of the Jupiter, in which
Okay.
they find the water.
If you
Like why we are not the first to find the water first? I am
Okay.
saying that thing.
But India was the first to find the zero. Aryabhat.
That was the history, but instead of getting the first, we get the zero first. We are not have that right to like say that we are the first to like introduce the zero in the itself.
No, we can say that proudly.
But we can
using
say because we are
zero
Indian.
everywhere.
But in a foreigner country, they are not expected like accept that they are.
Then it is their foolishness that they are not accepting.
without
Like-
zero, how
Even
can you make
India
How
is
can you use AI? Because
AI is not on the binary system.
AI is on the computer system, and computer system is used by binary language.
Okay, but the AI is not on the basis of the computer. It is a different technology. Like instead of that, they are using matrix.
okay. If AI is good at some points, but AI is bad at some points. Go in a few perspective, from a perspective of a teacher, I think AI is not great for the students, except Google, that they are getting the knowledge. Except that, if you are doing the job of reasoning abilities, it's not good. But if you talk about if you talk about the robotics in a few fields, it is taking the human occupation. But if you talk about the defense, it's great. Okay, we can understand it will save a lot of lives.
Okay.
Okay, it is a good perspective that it will save a lot of life, but I partially understand that. But if I talk about the students, it's not good.
Okay, like if you are not interested in talking about the AI, like let's left that. Instead of that, our defense system, like in the term of the technology, we are in the fifth generation. But instead of that, in the USA and foreign countries are in the 10th generation. Like
10th generation, there is a
double time of the generations.
You know what? Cell. If we talk about the cell,
It also impacted GDP. Like if
Okay.
we are on the top, like we are able to distribute, like export our material to the other countries to be as a business point of view.
yeah, from a business point of view, I understand. But okay, understand the history as well.
Like-
In the around the 1800s,
Hmm.
cell was found. Cell was found. Okay, by Robert Hooke, I guess.
Yes,
By Robert Hooke.
1765.
1765. So a lot of things started way earlier than it started in the India.
So
India
that's why
was
I'm saying
being
that
ruled.
why India is not the first one to discover the cell. Why
Because-
we are just behind that.
The education system in India was very different. It was about learning, you know.
So why we are not teaching the
There
students
used to
that
be-
kind of the that
there
kind of
used to
things
be-
that they will become the first one to discover anything.
Okay, so there used to be gurukuls. Gurukuls used to teach about it's not just about the innovation. Gurukuls used to teach about how to respect the elders, how to live in a family, how to.
So why
you
they are
know,
they are
only
extinguished from
But
our
there
society?
are many things where Indians are discovered first, like surgery.
I am not saying that thing, but we are not have the official right to be at a first surgeon in our country.
Okay, if you talk about the Bhagavad Gita, okay, not Bhagavad Gita, I am not expert at it. I completely agree with that. Okay, so if you talk about the birth of Sita, okay, it was considered the first IVF, the test tube baby. It is considered the first test tube baby. So it's not
I
like
know
that.
about that.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's not just that it's who has done the first. Every country has a different policy. It's not. I'm not talking about the policy yojanas and everything.
So
But if you
why
talk
India
about
in the race of becoming the like economical power in the world? So if you are talking about like it is not a race of like winning the first one, so why we are in the race of becoming the?
we are developing, we have to be
So
developed.
why we are in that race that we are developing country?
Okay, so if you have to pass, if you when you pass the 12th class, you must be an average, and then you realize, okay, we have potential, we can be the one. First, you have to become the average,
So-
then you will become the top, right? But right now in our country, the foundations of education and in every field is not that strong, right? And so that's why it happens that you have to become the from the foundation you have to become very strong, and later on you will realize that you can become the best. Okay, and leaders in our country are aspiring to become the best,
So-
but at the same point they have to focus on the foundations as well.
Like if we are
Foundations,
like if
not
we are
just in
talking
the
about the
city life,
defense sector.
in the urban areas as well,
So
rural areas, sorry.
okay, if we are like talking about the defense sector,
Yes.
like once the US chief of the army says that if we get the Indian army, then we can conquer all over the world. So why the Indian are not able to that too much potential that they can even make their own like center of their like armed forces to export their materials to out of the world.
Yes, exportation, I am not aware about it. But if I
Like-
talk about the Indian Army,
Like, you know,
Indian Army,
Yes.
from other countries, armies come to learn from India. I was in the NSS, I was in the NSS, and I learned about it through a seminar that so many people from the outside come to India. So many
They are
army
not come to India. They participate in an exercise between the two countries that calls the diplomatic
Okay.
ties. Like they are also like both of them together organize a drill or like any mock of that. That's the point of view. Like the India is like having that particular thing, but why they are not the first one to like just, give the things to first the world?
Except defense side, medical field of India is very high, and
Like you are talking about the like education system. You are saying that India education system is good.
Yeah,
Yes.
India-
But instead of that, out of the 50 world most IITians, there is only the 2 of the IITs of the India that they are in the list of that top 50. Why?
You know, even NEET exam, NEET and JEE considered tougher
In the
than
world.
tougher than the other exams.
If you ever read about the China entrance exam, out of the 50 lakh, one can be selected.
Okay.
So-
So which field?
Like entrance exam of the like college. That was the entrance exam of the college.
Now there is CUET. There used to be merit based, and so many people took advantage of it. They used to get the admission in the village
Like
area.
competition is natural in the India because there is most dense populated country.
Yeah, that's-
But instead of that, China is not that too much populated country. They have that too much competition that out of the 50 lakh they only selected the one, only one.
They are only selecting. Okay, there is. Okay, if I
I'm
talk
not,
about
like,
the CUET, if I talk
Like
about the CUET,
like instead of having like many of
Okay.
the college in a country like
Yes.
IIT is the like toughest exam in a country.
Yes.
Instead of that, we have only 2 IITs in the top 50s. Why we are not having like 10 to 20 out of that?
okay, how many? Which country has more than 2 or 3?
US and UK are the most one. Like they are all having a 15 to 10.
USA is
Why the people goes to first to
USA
visit outside the country, not to get education in our country? Like they are most of the scientists which are working in the NASA instead of like is ISRO. Like ISRO is also a good country, like
Yes.
organization
Good
of country.
organization.
But instead of that, they are having a part in the NASA. Instead of that,
But there are so many cases
like
that people
they
are willing
left
to
the
work.
country to get education abroad, not in a country, because they believe that India is not that too much developed that they can provide us a well education. Why?
It is a particular notion as well that if you go outside the India and English is considered very superior to us.
Why?
So if
Why Sanskrit is not the that superior language in the world?
a Sanskrit, even if you
Like
have you
India is
seen
saying
the-
itself as a world group,
have
so
you
why
seen
we
the
are
movie?
not establish our Sanskrit to be as a world?
Have you seen the movie Interstellar? They are using the coding language and the Sanskrit language.
They are using that, but they are not saying that we are using that. They are saying that it is own culture.
It is our own culture. They are saying that because they want to be, because they have achieved so much in their life that they can overshadow anything. They think that they can overshadow the respect India has. You know,
India is not.
India's
India is not
culture is
overshadowing the things.
overshadowing. If somebody is good at something, we overshadow what other harmful things the person can do. Okay.
So
It's
India is
like-
not doing.
No, India. How is India doing? Tell me that.
So like if a person is a good in the wrestling, like
Yes.
wrestling or any sport,
Yes.
instead of that he is doing committing so like murders, like drugs trafficking, women trafficking. Like you have you ever
Even
have you
in
ever know about
foreign,
the
it is
information about
happening.
the woman trafficking? Most of the girls are in the country of India as woman trafficking to the other foreign countries. Why these are leaking to our India? Why they are not having the strict rules like donkey system? Have you heard about the donkey system?
Yes.
Illegally migrating from one country to the another country.
Yes.
India is having the highest ratio of that.
India is having the highest ratio of that because Western culture is very glorified in our country.
So
And
why,
yes,
if we are Indian, so why the foreign culture are glorifying in our country? Why
Because-
Indian culture is not
Okay,
glorifying?
so let me speak first. Because it is a very natural human nature to be attracted to the other culture. As somebody from India will feel attracted to the Western culture, and as well as
So
the
make a
foreign
culture
people.
that attractive that people can attract from outside the
So
world
don't
also.
you think that other people are coming to India and in
But-
terms of spirituality? If
But
we talk about
ratio,
the spirituality,
but ratio matters because population also matters because the country outside the world, like rather than the India, they are less populated than India. Instead of that, India is like migrating, and that migration is very high in that particular ratio.
okay,
Like
India is a
if we are
populated.
especially talking about the Punjab, like the second Punjab is said to be as Canada. Why?
Yes, because
People are migrating from our country to the other country.
and you know what? If they are not well educated, they are working as a cab drivers in the America.
That doesn't matter. They are having that salary out of like the salary of that cab driver is
Yeah.
more than the other businessmen in our country.
You are
like
talking
small
about-
MSMCs.
But if you talk about a cab driver who is living in the America, he's a lower middle class. According to what are the expenses there?
Because the expenses is very high in foreign.
Okay,
They calculate according to the dollars.
Like-
We calculate according to the rupees.
yes, we are talking about the dollars and rupees. Why rupees? 1 rupee is equal like $1 is equals to 80 rupees. Like in the early time, it was 70, like 60 or 70,
Yes.
I think. But nowadays it become 80. Why?
Because of the GDP issues.
GDP issues is also the one thing that people are facing that too much problem in this country.
Yeah, that's true.
And that problem
Because
is linked
India is
into
a
the
developing
innovation. That condition leads to the innovation, the programs which run by the country, and also the education system which we are taught to our like teenagers to be like a future of our country that are not sufficient to us. Why the country is not taking this as a serious, like why they are not changing the education system, because which education they are providing to us is not sufficient that we are participate in the world level. It should, because of that, our students went to the Canada, went to the NASA, went to the America for our continue their educations.
Yeah, that's true that people are going outside. As what I said earlier, that it is very glorified to have a job in the NASA and not ISRO.
Why it is not become the ISRO to be as a glorified image in the world that people are interested in taking part of that?
It is becoming important nowadays. It was not because people really didn't believe in the Indian infrastructure and everything.
Why that belief is not exist in the world? Like
because
India,
of the corruption. It is not just about that. It's about
corruption is not a part of that. Every country, every government has their own corruption. Every country has the corruption, but they have some priority like nationality in itself as well. Like if they are corrupting in that particular thing, which leads to a life loss of the country citizens, they will not do that.
That's a personal choice. That's a human choice.
Okay, let's stop this. Okay, fine. Hope you enjoy all this debate and comment me that how you feel it.